when we talk about financial inclusion, what does it basically mean? Financial services mean something which should have provision for savings, credit and insurance. Today we have in the world something around, report in 2009 said 2.7 billion people who are unbanked, who do not have access to financial institutions. And most of them, almost 90% of them, they are from developing countries, including Africa, Latin America, India and Southeast countries. Now, what is the reason? Why is it that a normal bank does not go to these people and provide them the banking facility? The transaction cost for a small amount, for a product of small value, is not that viable because it's not proportionately lower, rather it has a overhead fixed cost. So it's not viable for the bank to go to these people and provide them services if they are poor people living in remote areas. As they said, last mile connectivity has a very strong cost component. So the role of government is to provide incentive to make an enabling atmosphere, a regulation which incentivizes these financial institutions to go and touch the poorest of the poor. How do you do it? Different countries have different models. As you know, the technology has various solutions. Nowadays, ATM, point of sale devices, mobile, PDAs, they are the instruments by which we are trying to reach to the underprivileged, marginalized sections of the society by using these technological innovations and services. Different countries are taking different measures to strengthen this process. In Malaysia, they have a financial master plan, which includes a map, a plan for all sections of society, for all areas, be it urban, be it rural, and accordingly they go. In Brazil and Egypt, they focus on strengthening the existing channel, existing banking channel. You strengthen the existing banks, make them provide more services so that they are able to reach the poorest of the poor. Peru and Indonesia, they say, empower them, empower these underprivileged, marginal, socially excluded communities so that they are able to access the services on their own. So their focus is to empower these unbanked sections of the society. In El Salvador, they are saying that we have some PSUs, public sector undertaking. So we'll ask these PSU banks, by giving diktats, by mandating them, to go to the villages and try to see that maximum number of people are made bankable and the access of financial services provided to them. Indonesia is having this no-frill account. In Cambodia, now they have said that let us empower these MFIs to accept deposits also. What is it that we should do? It's a mix of all of them. When I say mix of all of them, it means in parallel, because these are not mutually exclusive. You can take all these measures and they can all run concurrently. You don't need to do one at the cost of other. So, when we talk of empowerment, it means the citizens of the state, citizens of the country, they should be in a position, they should have all the information so that they can access the services. On this count, the state has, the state of Bihar I mean, we have taken two initiatives. One is a Jankari call center. It's established under the Right to Information Act 2005. It's a basically very small idea. Idea is, the rule says, if today you have to get an information, you have to pay 10 rupee fees, take that check or postal draft or bank draft, go to the concerned public information officer, and then within 30 days, he will provide you the relevant information. And that information has to be asked in a prescribed format. So it was taking time. People were going to from village, you see the amount and the transaction cost. One has to go to the collector or secretary's office, get the bank draft made and then submit it. So this call center says, you dial from anywhere in the state. There's a number called 155311 and there's a helpline also, 10. So you dial this number, somebody will pick up the phone and do the hand holding. So if you are a semi-literate or illiterate person, you do not know what exactly you want, but you have a problem. Say for example, you have a problem called, you are not getting your pension. Somebody in a family is not getting pension. So that person will do the hand holding. He will say, Okay, you don't have pension. So do you want to know who has the authority to sanction the pension? How long is it pending? Why is it pending? Are these the informations you want to know? So he'll say yes. So he will transcribe that in the prescribed format, and this call center will send it to the concerned department. Now within 30 days the department has to give that information to the concerned person, otherwise he can go for appeal, and the concerned public information officer, he will be penalized in case he does not give the requisite information in time. So by doing this, what have we done? All these PIOs, all these BDOs, collectors, secretaries, they have this enabling provision already. They should provide this. But even then people were facing problems. So we have broken the government monopoly. If you say that government is a repository of information and providing information is a service, then we have broken the monopoly of the government officials in the field formation. In case somebody goes to you, you are not giving information, he can straight away ring from there, and that call is a premium number, so that 10 rupee cost is deducted automatically from the call, and this call center will now pursue it with the concerned department, and department will give you the information. So anyone in the state knows that if he is not giving the information, somebody else will do it at the same time, and he has to do it. Ultimately, he is the one who will sign that paper. So by breaking this monopoly, you are providing that information, and that includes, so this information inclusion is a very important concept. Now people are empowered by getting all the knowledge. They know everything about the government decision, how it was taken, what informations are relevant. So once you empower them, they can access the financial services better. Second one, what we have done is, we have passed a right to information, Bihar Public Services Act, Right to Public Services Act. So there are 55 services now. We started from 15th August 2011. This 15th August we have added 5 more services, so now we have 55 services. All these services have to be provided within a stipulated time. You can go to any of the center, ask for these information, these services. Typically these are caste certificates, as you saw in the common service center. Caste certificate, income certificate, domicile certificate, or registration or mutation cases, and it has to be given within the mandated time. If not, again penalty clause starts, and the person concerned is liable to be penalized if he is not giving the requisite information in time. This provides you with service inclusion. So whatever are the services provided to the government, you will have all these informations with you. Now service inclusion or information inclusion, this basically empowers you. This empowers you in such a way that you are now, this access to financial services, this becomes easier for you. This becomes easier for you. What is it that the government should do? Normally, you adopt a leapfrog technology. So whatever best practices, whatever solutions have already been adopted by other countries, other states, you try to call out the best practices and try to implement them. And since they already have had experience of doing those activities, so you already have a way to learn from the past experience. One important aspect in financial inclusion, when we say, is land reforms. Because whenever a bank wants a person to be provided with a financial service, typically some of these assets they want to see. So this is something where the government comes into picture. The government comes into picture when we say we should have a robust regulation to regulate the financial services sector, so as to incentivize any technology solution which provides better and more access to financial services. I'll just talk about one small concept which we are toying with. It is, there's a customer, there's a bank, there's a pipeline. Now this customer is having problem in having no sales account with the bank. So what we do? We cannot become a bank ourselves, the state government. You chip in between. This pipeline, you enter the market, and what you do? You mimic the banking operations. What do I mean by that? I'm saying that there is a technology solution whereby a state agency will have only back-end link with the bank for only the consolidated amount. And this agency will have details of all the beneficiary, capturing all the entitlements. And if the government wants to give any, say for example, 4,500 for Indira Awas Yojana as one installment, 1,000 for stipend, 200 rupees for some other scheme, welfare scheme. So we can straight away push that into their account, and these people can access from the front end. This front end can be provided by a government agency. This idea is a new idea and it's being tried in UK. We are also exploring the possibility. So basically the idea is you try to break the monopoly of any system. In normal economy, it is said that you try to break monopoly so that people are having choices, they are empowered to access the financial services. I'll end with this. I'll take more questions when we have this discussion. Thank you.